Well, what do these three books have in common with the Bible? Well, they're all fiction books. A pastor snapped this picture when he discovered stickers labeling the Bible as fiction at a Costco in California. And joining us now is Pastor Caleb Kaltenbach. Good morning, Pastor. How are you? So you take this picture, you're walking through Costco, and you see the Bible labeled as fiction. What happened next?
I was buying a present for my wife, and I was on my way out, and I looked at the Bible, and I saw that it was labeled fiction, and I checked all the other Bibles, and they were labeled fiction, and I tried to find somebody, and I couldn't, so I took a picture, because I'm a social media guy, put it on my Facebook and Twitter, and a lot of people commented on it.
Yeah, there were a ton of comments.
Yeah.
Were you shocked about the response when you saw it?
I was surprised that they would label it as fiction, but the response has been interesting because you've had some people who are ultra-fundamentalist Christian who just say, you know, we need to boycott Costco, and I don't think that's the answer. Then you have some people who are, you know, they were offended, and they're like, hey, that's my faith right there. It's not fiction.
Sure.
But then you had other people who are passionately against the Bible, and they say, you know what, it is fiction, good for Costco.
And then I guess there are people like me who are not wanting to boycott Costco, and I'm not saying like, way to go, Costco. They're just doing what's rational. I mean, you can't put it as nonfiction, right? Because if you put nonfiction on the Bible, you'd have to put nonfiction on the Quran and the Book of Mormon, every other crazy ass religion out there. You would have to call that like nonfiction, that like it's true, you know, based on fact or some shit. But see, when it comes to other religions, you think they're all fiction, right? You think they're all fiction. And you have no problem with other religious texts, I'm sure, being labeled as fiction because you believe it's fiction. But when it's your own faith that gets labeled as fiction, well, then, whoa, up in arms, oh my God. You know, this has nothing to do with this story, but I was in a bookstore a while ago, and someone had like gone through the atheist section and like defaced all the Hitchens books and everything. And I gathered them all up, and I took them up to the fucking sales desk, and I said, someone apparently disagrees with what this book says, and they went through and defaced each and every one of them. So I was like, they shouldn't be up on your shelves anymore. You know, they're not okay to be sold like that. Now, I would never go into a bookstore and deface a Bible just for the shits and giggles of it, or because, like, you know, I think I'm proving some kind of point by doing that. It's fucking retarded. That's something a fundamentalist religious person would do to an atheist book, or, you know, Hitchens or Dawkins book. You know, they think that, like, you know, scratching out their name or something like that, or fucking ripping the cover, something like that, is really gonna, you know, make their point, and God will be like, good job, I'm so happy you stood up for me by fucking tearing up a book or some shit. That really proves your faith. But yeah, I mean, what do you want them to label it as? Sci-fi? You know, fucking crime, mystery? What, I mean, I guess they could put it under religion, but that's the same as saying fiction. The fact that the fact that you guys get so upset about it and so butthurt about it shows that maybe you're not so strong in that faith after all, huh?
Right, and certainly, like, I'm the ultimate consumer. I'll check on price and go and find someone and see if the price is as marked. You went and did that, and then you tried to call Costco, and you got a nice woman on the phone, and then they released this statement, so I want to read that for everyone. Quote, Costco's distributor mislabeled a small percentage of the Bibles. However, we take responsibility and should have caught the mistake. We are correcting this with them for future distribution. In addition, we are immediately relabeling all mislabeled Bibles. We greatly apologize for this error. So I would ask, is that enough? Is that a good I'm sorry?
Is that what this is all about? You want your apology? You feel offended because someone else saw a book in a bookstore, a Bible, and it was labeled as fiction. He took the time to put it out there. Like, I'm sure nobody else would have really noticed. Do you know how many people go to the bookstore to buy a Bible? Only the especially retarded religious people do that. I mean, they give out Bibles for free everywhere. You can. Who in the fuck goes and pays $16 for a Bible? You got to be fucking retarded. But you know, so someone noticed it, and now they're like, oh, now we're upset. You called our faith, which is something that's supposed to be based on things that are hard to believe. So many people, of course, would consider that fiction. Duh. But now you're so butthurt about it. You're like, we want an apology. I want you to apologize to all the Christians and Jesus and God, and then we'll see if that's a good enough apology. I mean, they came out and said, look, we're real sorry. They were mislabeled. I don't know what they should have been labeled as. Instead of fiction, maybe they should have been labeled as complete bullshit. But whatever they're going to be relabeled as, you got your fucking apology out of them. They said it was a mistake, albeit a funny and accurate, a mistake that was more accurate than whatever they'll relabel it as. It was probably the most accurate fucking labeling they could have possibly put on religious text. You know, nobody out there is throwing a fit when they call any other religion fiction. Any other religion. It's when they're, oh, I'm so butthurt. Oh my God, I'm so butthurt that you went and like called my faith fiction? That's not fair. All the other faith is fiction. My faith is true. It's non-fiction. It's bullshit is what it is. Jesus.
You know, it probably was a mistake. I have no idea, but a couple things. One, I think that Christians in America do need to stand up for their faith. You know, we're not persecuted like our brothers and sisters in the Middle Eastern countries or North Korea or other places, but we do need to be vocal about our faith. And I do believe that it shows how polarizing the Bible and Jesus both are. Because when it comes down to the Bible, either you believe that it's true or it's not true. There are no shades of gray. And when it comes down to Jesus, you either believe that he is who he says he is, or you believe that he is not who he says he is. And so that's what I think the real issue is about.
See, at least this guy stands by the Bible. You either believe the entire fucking thing is true, or the entire fucking thing is false. So unless you haven't critically thought about the Bible, it should be pretty easy to conclude that it's false. After going over all the contradictions and going over all the terribly crazy stories like Noah and the flood and the ark, oh my fucking God, to be able to put yourself in a child's mindset and convince yourself that that shit is true, and therefore all the rest of it's true, every last word of the Bible is true, you can't find anything wrong with it, because if you can find anything wrong with it, that means the whole thing's bullshit, right? One contradiction in the Bible means it would be fiction. Funny how that's what it was labeled in a bookstore.
Sure, and you certainly stood up for your faith on a daily basis. Did you end up getting your wife the president? What was it?
I got my wife a jacket. I figured out that I wasn't communicating with her in her love language very well, so I went over to Costco to try to correct that, and I had no idea that all this would happen.
He went to Costco to buy his wife a jacket because he wasn't doing very well in communicating in her love language. So he went to Costco and to buy a fucking jacket for his wife. Happy birthday. Oh my God. Did you learn your romance from the Bible? By the way, if you guys want some romance tips, it's all in the Bible. You can find it over there in the fiction section. Coctopus out. I just wanted to show off my new Mies headphones that I've got. Wanted to show them off a little bit and show you how awesome they are. And you guys can get yourself a pair of these. They're made of wood. They're extremely high quality and they are badass. I got mine in the gloss finish. I got these. These are the classic 73s. And they are nice. Check out Mies headphones through the link below.